Everybody to this conference on virtual reality in earth science education, and it's the last in a series of multiplier events that we've held with my GeoVT project partners. Some of them are in the room here. Because this is the final presentation that we have, and it's been co-funded by the European Union, as you see in this slide here. Because it's the final one, we kind of broadly present all the results that we've achieved over the years. And it's achievements in educational material that we've produced, and that is open access, available to everybody, and also the creation of our own virtual open access platform. My name is Arjen Stroeven. I'm a professor in physical geography at the Department of Physical Geography here at Stockholm University. I'm also responsible for this GeoVT project. And I'm one of two moderators today, and we have the second moderator sitting here, Mauro Soldati. He will moderate the afternoon session. Well, then it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's event. You see the title here of our project. I will shortly walk you through the schedule of today that we have ahead of us, but I'd first like to highlight the structure of the GeoVT partnership that has successfully achieved the outcomes that you will see today during the lectures. And you can see the partnerships here at the bottom of the page, the universities that are involved in this work. It's to achieve what we have had to make advances in the technical infrastructure. So there is now a platform on which you can create these virtual trips that we're going to present. We have to make pedagogical advances, and we have a group from Aspete who is our masters on that particular subject. And then, of course, we have our universities that are the educational and scientific backbones of the science that is being presented in this work, and it's a part of lectures, quizzes, and the field trips that are available. I just walk you then to the schedule for the GeoVT project. It will start with a lecture by Professor Niki Evelpidou. She's from the National Kapodistrian University of Athens in Greece, and she's kind of the heart and soul of this project, has started it and has seen it also through fruition from Greece. Then it will be a lecture by Dr. Nikas Papastamiou from Omega Technology, and he will be talking about the platform that we are using and that we've devised to do this work on, and the players that we use. Then there will be a lecture, and these two are on online lecturing, so you will see the speaker on the big screen as that happens. And then we have a lecture by Vittoria Vandelli, who is with us here today. And she will have a lecture on the training students on geoheritage through virtual reality technologies. It's the first of examples of the virtual field trips that we've devised, and it gives you a flavor of how that is being applied to questions in geoheritage. And then we have a lecture by Georgios Maneas from our university, who is though in Greece. He's also working at our research station there, the Navarino Environmental Observatory. And he will show you how this kind of work can be applied to a setting such as at the research station, and questions about site management. Then we have a lunch for the people in Sweden. Those from abroad will, if they're in USA, perhaps start thinking about breakfast, and those are in China, perhaps thinking about a late afternoon snack, who knows. Then after lunch, we will reconvene, and we have an afternoon lecture series of 5 lectures. And it starts with Lina Svensdotter, who is an invited speaker for today and is not part of the GeoVT project. And she will be lecturing about using virtual reality in the classroom setting. And so it's going to be very interesting to hear about that. Then we have a lecture by Giannis Saitis, also here with us, and it's from the National and Kapodistrian University of Athens, talking about a coastal setting and what you can learn in processes and landforms on the coastal setting. And we have a lecture by engineer Dr. Mohand Medjikan from the University of Caen in Normandy in France. And he will look at erosional imprints on a slope in Normandy. So these are the lectures that kind of highlight the sort of the virtual field trips that you can find and others in the open access available material. Then the day finishes with 2 lectures, one by Piotr Migon, who will be presenting the final result of what we're going to do. Is going to be encapsulated in an ebook, and that will be freely available, obviously, as well then, and that we're now doing the last bits on that. And he will be presenting a taste of what's going to be in there. And finally, Aristidis Palioras, he will be talking about the digital escape rooms, like the next step perhaps in what we can do with this kind of material, and in presenting in an interesting way to students or children how to move forward. So that's the project, that's the schedule of today. Afterwards, we have a fika, and then we have the possibility of, in a workshop on a room across this hallway, look at some of the material that we have prepared. These are 2 shots from 2 of the movies that are being prepared by our Greek colleagues, and that we will see in full in the next lecture that is coming up. Well, I also want to extend a particularly warm welcome to our participants online, and as in any of our previous multiply events, we have a wide range of participants from across the globe. These are the ones that have, here you see a map of people's locations when they have registered, and this is from about 2 days ago. And you know, it covers 4 continents and 13 time zones in between. So if the ones in the US, it's about 4 a.m. or something like now, if they are participating at this point already, whereas in China it's late afternoon. So very nice to have so many people attending over this meeting. Okay, well, if you are apart from the ebook, we're finishing our colleagues from Italy have been busy and already published several papers from within the GeoVT project. And I just want to show you quickly that if you are interested in reading up on this subject, then there are already a couple of papers available, and we now have one that Vittoria is leading that is for consideration in geoscience. So we are in the 2nd round of reviewing on that particular paper. So hopefully that will have the stamp of 2024 soon on it. Well, with that, I would like to thank everybody for coming and hopefully attending a very interesting seminar series. I also like to thank the comrades in arms who are here and are helping organizing this meeting and executing, especially Carmen Prieto. Carmen is sitting, where is Carmen? She's outside? Okay, Carmen, especially thank you to Carmen. She just went outside. Ylva, who's sitting here, is also part of it. Janis, we've introduced Eliana, who's here. Mauro will be chairing the afternoon session, and we will hear from Vittoria in a couple of minutes. And I'd like to thank the Department of Physical Geography, who's giving us this venue and the technical support to do this meeting. So that finishes my first 10 minutes, and I would like then, without further ado, prepare for the first speaker of this morning, and that would be Professor Niki Velpidou from the National and Kapodistria University of Athens. Niki, could you start sharing your lecture, please?
I have not the right now.
Okay. I need to stop. I'm getting help here.
Okay.
Anna. I should also thank Anna Sekalovskaya, who is helping here with that was a major mistake to not thank you as well, Anna. Thank you.
I am ready. Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to see you even like that. I am so sorry I am not there. I'm jealous of the rest of colleagues that made it happen to travel to Stockholm. I'm very glad to see in the online participants many friends and colleagues from abroad and overseas that they made us the honor to be here today in this final event of our GeoVT project. I will try to give an overview of GeoVT. First of all, GeoVT stands for Training New Generations on Geomorphology, Geohazards, and Geoheritage through virtual reality technologies. It aims to give all students the opportunity to get to know various geomorphic environments which are inaccessible or unavailable in their country or require time and money to visit. The idea was born during the pandemic, but later on we thought that it would be wonderful to establish a connection between the geomorphologists and share our field trips in our amphitheaters. With this way, our students will visit more sites and will learn about them from those who are doing research in these areas. So the GeoVT journey started like that, but it is not only this. I will not introduce the team because our project leader did it a few minutes ago. So I will go here. GeoVT aims to offer alternative forms of education to contribute to a fundamental change in teaching methods in multiple domains of science. It offers participants the ability to virtually navigate over areas which they could not visit otherwise, and enrich students' experience and provide deeper learning opportunities by bringing to life lessons on geomorphology, geohazards, and geoheritage. So GeoVT provides new educational material for geomorphology, geohazards, and geoheritage, provides various geomorphic virtual field trips. You will have the opportunity to see some in the presentations, but also to use the equipment and the authoring tool in order to have the experience of the virtual field trips we have developed. Then there is provides an authoring tool for creating custom virtual reality interactive presentations. This is the authoring tool developed by our IT project collaborator, Omega. And at this point, I would like to say that this authoring tool, it is open, and although we have prepared many virtual field trips so far, and the project is near to the end, we may keep using this authoring tool in order to enrich our portfolio of geomorphic virtual field trips. GeoVT provides also an open e-class related to geomorphology, geohazards, and geoheritage. I will show you something about that, and an e-book that will be presented later on by our Polish colleague. As I mentioned, we have developed virtual field trips in different geomorphic environments. This was the main idea, to provide different geomorphic environments. We have developed a virtual field trip giving the opportunity to students to get familiarized with the geomorphological processes associated with tectonics and climate, also associated with geohazards, with coastal erosion, surface runoff, sea level changes, coastal and fluvial part of geomorphology and processes, hazards and heritage in a different kind of environments, in hydrological hazards, karstic mass movements, and many other geomorphic information. Here, I can show you just a sample of what we may develop through the GeoVT tool using 360 photos collected from the field, along with the
Based on the
additional
distribution
material.
of the dune fields, it seems that the relief, the morphological characteristics of the area, along with the sand source supply, have played the major role on the relocation. On the other hand, the influence of the wind can be recognized in the constant north-northwest, south-southeast to north-south orientation of the dune fields.
So you may have 360 photos, or it could be a video instead of photo. When you finish with the specific site, you may press the button next to go to the next site, and then inside here you may have narration, you may have more videos, text, photos, and other kind of even graphical sketches and things like that, in order to make the experience even better and more explanatory for the students. Our open e-class is a very powerful tool which concentrates lectures, educational material, virtual field trips of the different geomorphic environments I just mentioned before, and all this in one place. Fully implemented educational multimedia material, scientific journals, and e-exercises may be found in this platform. The class could be a common tool for geomorphologists from different universities to share their classes and their material, and also students from different universities to interact and work together. So, although we have developed this tool already, and we have uploaded all the material we have prepared so far, I would dare to share to say that it is a very powerful future tool, because it was developed through the GeoVT from the partnership, but we have developed for the whole geomorphic community, and we will be very happy to share this tool with all of you. And since I can see in the participants that we have many colleagues working on geomorphology, teaching geomorphology in their countries, it will be wonderful to collaborate, to share this tool with you, to add your own material if you wish, and to help you prepare your own virtual field trips. But even if you don't have this opportunity, you don't have the time to do that, please go on and use the material we have already uploaded there. It covers a vast variety of geomorphic environments. We had a training school. It was an e-training school in which 50 students participated. It provided a comprehensive education on applied geomorphology topics and their links to society, geohazards assessment and management, and geoheritage issues through virtual reality and 3D animation. The purpose of this training course was to have the opportunity, first of all, to give the opportunity to students to know what we are doing, to study the material we have already uploaded to the e-class, and to visit the sites through the virtual field trips we have developed. And for us was the opportunity to have 50 people working on the material we had already prepared and get the feedback of how to make it better for the next students that they are coming. And we got many comments. Most of them were wonderful. We had also some ideas from our students how to make it more to make it even better for the students. We incorporated that with our material, and now we are ready to deliver for the next students and the next people who will join. Although I already mentioned that GeoVT reached the end as a project, but out of this project, we didn't get only the results I just presented and those that they are coming from my colleagues later on. We were very lucky because out of this project, we have made friends, and not only colleagues, we have made friends. We are still working together, and we are still about to deliver more things outside the project, and but related to GeoVT. So we will keep uploading the results of our future collaboration in our social media, so you still have a reason to keep following us. And in any case, there is one more activity that will be there, which is the ebook that will be presented later on by our colleague Piotr. At this point, I would like to give the floor to the next speakers of our GeoVT group to present you some of the virtual field trips we have developed. But before that, I would like to close my presentation with two short videos of how our students feel and how they see GeoVT.
The project Geomorphological Virtual Field Trips is designed to demonstrate a uniform and integrated teaching guideline that promotes distance education by utilizing the most recent trend of technologies in education. The aim of the project is to offer alternative forms of education, contributing to a fundamental change in teaching methods in multiple disciplines of science. Students will gain experience through the interactive aspect of geomorphology, geohazards, and geoheritage, subjects which come to life with students are virtually in the field. GeoVT is training new generations on geomorphology, geohazards, and geoheritage through virtual reality technologies. Join us and explore field trips on various geomorphological sites around Europe and get the virtual reality experience. The project
And one more.
Are you a geology student? Or someone really interested in earth sciences and gorgeous landscapes? GeoVT is a new educational platform that brings the field inside your room. Discovering geomorphologies, geoheritage, and geohazards around the world.
We love being in the field, but sometimes it's difficult to reach it.
Discovering geomorphologies and geohazards around the world is easier through virtual field trips. You may explore lagoons and dunes, glaciers and rivers, observe erosion and understand the necessity for nature protection. Virtual field trips is a tool on how we could help our society to be educated on these issues and lead to a more sustainable environment. You may also visit a geophysical museum.
As a geomorphology tutor, I'm always in search for the best educational tools for my class.
You can access the GeoVT platform by using your computer, or you may also wear a virtual reality headset to enjoy the full experience. We ensure the inclusion of all students and try to make education more fun. The GeoVT project is co-founded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. You may find our webpage and social media to contact us and share our passion.
So at this point, I hope you will enjoy the results of our GeoVT project. I wish you a fruitful meeting, and I would like to thank you all for joining us today. It's an honor for us. I would like to thank our GeoVT colleagues for this wonderful collaboration. But most of all, the leader of the project, Arjen, and Carmen, who is the person behind all this project. And thank you very much, Carmen. Without your job, we would not be here. So thank you all. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. Okay, then I would like to give the work to Nikos Papastamatiu from Omega Technology, and he will be talking about the GeoVT authoring platform and players. And you will also be sharing your screen, I think, Nikos?
Yes, thank you. Nice to be here with you. I'm going to start sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Tell me if you can see.
We see and we hear loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in this presentation, I would like to talk about a little bit about the technical developments between what you have seen so far. I'm Nikos Papastamatiu. I'm from Omega Technology, a company in the software development, involved in software development, doing a lot of things around applications, virtual reality, augmented reality, mobile applications, and whatever our customers need. I'm going to talk now about the GeoVT one, the GeoVT platform. And I would like to say that this platform is being composed of 3 different tools. And the first one is an online repository of materials, of content, where the people from the universities doing research work, they collect materials and they add these materials in the online repository of GeoVT platform. Then the second tool is the authoring application. Having uploaded all this content, then they logged in the authoring application, and as we see later on, there they compose all these materials together to prepare their narratives. And the final component of this platform is the players, is the tools that the students and any other interested people can see these narratives, can watch, can follow these narratives through different devices, from their PCs, from VR headsets, whatever they have available. The authoring tool and the repository is web applications, but also standalone application for Windows PCs and Mac devices. As I said, the players are for Windows, Mac, and VR headsets. But let's see now these components of the platform one by one. In the repository, the researchers can add different materials, and these include 360 images, 360 video, narrations, recorded voices that present their work, images, and also 3D objects. They can upload these on themselves, but we also have a free library with materials that they can use, like arrows, as you saw in the previous presentation, arrows and other prompts that are useful when creating a presentation. So we have a free library of such items. now, in the second component is the authoring tool. Having uploaded all these materials online in this repository, the researchers as authors now enter the platform, and what they can do is that they can create several 360 spheres, as we call them, and connect these spheres to each other, creating a path that the user will follow, clicking the next buttons as you saw previously. So the author can create a new sphere when starting the application for the first time. It's empty from content. So the first thing is that the author creates a new sphere and selects this sphere if there's going to be a 360 photo background or a 360 video background. Having added the background in the sphere, the author can move all around the environment, and in specific points in this environment can add additional materials like images, texts, and these images or texts can link to other spheres. So having created the number of spheres that the author wants, then selecting some images like the arrows. This is the most common they use. They do this with arrows, but you can also have a text and connect this text to another sphere. So adding these extra materials over the 360 backgrounds, the researchers, the authors create presentations about their work in the specific sites. Having finished also the authoring tool, the application is ready. They publish it in order to become available to the students and other people. And as soon as this presentation, this narrative is published, people either from their PCs or Mac devices or with VR headsets, they can watch these presentations, look all around them, like the immersion is the advantage using the VR headset, especially the VR headsets. Okay, you can look around also in the PC, but with a mouse, but wearing the VR headsets, it's another experience, more immersive. And they can, using the joysticks of the VR headset, they can interact with the items inside the presentations, actually to navigate to the other spheres. The navigation is not linear. For example, from one sphere, there can be two buttons leading to two different spheres. So it's up to the user to select the path that he or she wants to follow. And to say a few things about the technology, we use the Unity platform. It's a popular game development platform, but it's used a lot for the development of other 3D applications apart from games. It has some advantages that it's using common programming languages like C# of .NET and the .NET framework from Microsoft. This was an advantage for us for using this platform because we have been programming in C# for many years before Unity was even there in the market. So this is an advantage of the Unity platform, that it uses common programming frameworks. And another advantage of Unity is that it's multi-platform. That means that when you create something with Unity, you can easily, with slight modifications, export it for different end devices like mobile phones, PCs, VR, headsets, and also the web. So this is the advantages of the Unity platform, and that's what we used to develop this GeoVT platform. And as you understand, the platform is not static, it's dynamic, and in the future, without us, without the need of the technical assistance, the researchers, the participating university can use the platform to create as many new presentations as they want, uploading new materials and presenting new sites to the interested students and other people. Yes, and that was all from me about the technical, the background of this project. I want to thank all partners for the great collaboration, and we look forward for new things. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikos. And I thank you for presenting the heart and lungs of the machinery here. Very nice to see how that's being built. We have a couple of minutes, 1 or 2. If there's any question so far for any of the speakers, then we could ask. Nikos is the one who knows the technical stuff, so he's it's now or never probably. Yeah,
I have a question. I'm planning a project similar in spirit to this. I'm kind of surprised that you used Unity, because technically it is a proprietary engine. So I understand that your project is open source, but did you have to pay to use it? Because it's a big team. So I think there is
open access. The materials open access.
Yeah, but Unity itself.
Yeah,
that's what I was curious about.
Yes, okay. As a company, as developers, we pay to Unity per seat. Per programmer, we pay. But the GeoVT platform is free for everyone to use. You don't, as an author in the Unity platform, in the product we have created with Unity, you don't need to own the license of Unity. It's something that is free for anyone to use, the authoring platform. We pay as developers, but then the GeoVT platform, even if it's built with Unity, doesn't matter. It's free for everyone to use. There's no fees for this.
Yeah, I understand. It's just, for example, there are other game engines that, for example, there is Godot, which is full open, free and open source software. So just for the future, in case there are any other similar projects, there are engines that are free and open source, and you can alter the code, and multi-platform also can use C++, etc. So just Unity is in the community of developers has lost a bit of its credibility because of its the predatory charging. So yeah, it's interesting that you had to pay for it because you're not monetizing it.
Yes, okay, we use Unity for not only for this project, and since in an Erasmus project the budget is not, it's quite small, I could say, for everyone, for all participants. We don't have the ability to do new research, to search new research tool. We pay Unity otherwise for other projects we have. We don't pay Unity for doing GeoVT, and we don't charge it even the project. The subscription to Unity. So it's something, a tool that we know, that we have experience in these tools, and we are able to produce in a small time frame with a relatively small budget a good result. That's why we used Unity even in this project and in many other projects. We are not, that's the reason actually. There's not more than this.
Okay, thank you. It's a good discussion. We go to the next speaker, which is Vittoria Vandelli. She's setting up her lecture here.
Arjen.
Yeah.
Maybe you could remind all participants, because we cannot post a message here. If they have not registered yet, please do so. It will be good for our statistics. I cannot post a message in the chat.
Okay. I didn't get your question. Could you repeat that?
Yes. It is not a question. It is a reminder to the people joining us, even physically or online, to register.
Okay. Yeah.
I will be next.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. Today I am going to talk about some examples of virtual field trips that we implemented within the GeoVT project. I would also like to show to you a workflow that we followed to prepare these virtual field trips that may be useful for who wants to explore the opportunity to use virtual field trips in their academic lessons and in other occasions to prepare their own virtual reality-based lesson. So let's start talking about the topic of our virtual field trips. The virtual field trips that we implemented were about geoheritage. For those who are not familiar with the word geoheritage, geoheritage is an important part of the global natural heritage, including special places and elements that play a key role in our understanding of the history of the Earth, including rocks, fossils, minerals, and landscapes. Geoheritage is a non-renewable resource. The conservation and promotion of geoheritage emerge as a crucial element in fostering the building up of sustainable communities, helping reaching the sustainable development goals. Here are some examples of the sustainable development goals that you can reach by promoting conservation of geoheritage. Geoheritage can be used also in education for promote the adequate resource management based on the geological knowledge. So geoheritage and education on geoheritage can provide students with knowledge about the history of the Earth and the process shaping the landscape. In the last few years, dedicated courses and contents have been developed within the university context. But there is still, as some authors pointed out, there is still the need to improve the awareness on these topics, especially at higher education level. And and here comes our project. So the recent advances in computer technologies and telecommunication has provided new tools to implement immersive and interactive lessons based on virtual reality. In the slide, you can see a bar chart showing the number of publications, the number of papers through years regarding the use of immersive technology and geoheritage. You can see a certain increase through the years. In fact, as you may understand, there are many advantages in the use of immersive technology in geoheritage education. For example, one can overcome the inaccessibility of the sites or inability of individuals to access the site. Also, you can be independent from and of meteorological climatic constraints. And also there is the possibility by using virtual reality to preserve the integrity of the site, especially those who are sensitive to human impact. And then, of course, students can train in a safe environment. Here, there is in this slide, the workflow that we followed to produce our virtual reality-based lesson is shown. There are five main steps. In the next slide, I quickly explain each of them. So starting from the first step, we selected degree courses in which our virtual reality-based lessons can be useful. We identified, for example, courses in earth and natural sciences, environmental sciences, and geography, including teaching material related to georesources, geomorphology, and physical geography. We also selected, of course, dedicated courses on geoheritage and geoconservation. As you saw in the previous slide, they are increasing in number through the years. Well, once identified the courses, we started to outline the lessons contents. First of all, the objectives of our virtual field trips, and in particular, in general, virtual lessons, was to provide students with theoretical and practical knowledge on concepts and methods for studying geoheritage. We explained what geoheritage is and geomorphological heritage is as well. We talked about geoheritage values. And at the end of the lessons, also a test was provided to students in the form of open-ended questions. Then, once outlined course content, we try to identify the best way to provide such contents. And we identified virtual field trips as the best tools for provide such information, such contents. Of course, virtual field trips were also accompanied by bibliographic materials and lectures by means of standard presentation that we all know. Then the first step was to outline the virtual itineraries by selecting special locations, special places. In particular, we identified 3 study areas for their representativeness as examples of geoheritage value, and of course, related to our knowledge of the areas. We selected what we know best. So the first 2 study sites were located in the Modena Apennines in northern Italy. You can see those places are characterized by spectacular mud volcanoes, and also, which are very peculiar for the area, and also by badlands morphology and selective erosional features. And we also selected the last site, the third site, in the Maltese Islands, in particular in the northern part. As you can see from the pictures, there is a very nice pocket beach backed by limestone cliffs, which are affected by lateral spreading phenomena and other collateral mass movements, which also provide an occasion to talk about the landslides as part of geoheritage. And also close to the area, there is a sinkhole. Well, once outlined the main location for the virtual field trips, we started to collect the material. We collected existing materials in the form of bibliography, photographs, drone videos, and then we also implement the explanatory material in the form of textual explanations, and also to audio recording and explanation through sounds. Again, we also collected the virtual reality material in the form of 360 videos and photos. Those are the core of our virtual field trips. Regarding this point, for the collection of the material, we use the camera, a 360 camera that you can see in the left corner of the slide. And then after collected the 360 photographs and videos, we process them by using the software, Insta360 software that was integrated with the camera. This step was just to export the material in the format that was good for the GeoVT platform, in JPG format and in MP4 format for videos. Here an example of a 360 video taken within the sinkhole, the bottom of the sinkhole in the Maltese Islands. With the mouse, with the pointer, you can, for example, explore in a 360 environment the entire sinkhole. Well, once collected all the virtual reality materials, we upload this material on the GeoVT online content repository that was shown in the previous presentation. And then we put together all this material in a logical way, in a logical sense, by using the GeoVT authoring applications. And then I will detail a bit this point. So this is the screenshot of the GeoVT online content repository. We created in particular one project for each virtual field trips. In this case, our group created 3 virtual field trips, and so 3 projects were created within the GeoVT online content repository. For each project, we uploaded assets in the form of multimedia materials, including 360 photographs and videos, and so on. Then, the second step for the implementation of the virtual field trips. We used the GeoVT authoring application. In the left side of the screenshot, you can see all the assets that we uploaded in the application, and then we started to collect together, to put together the virtual field trip with a series of steps, a series of stops. And here, there is an example, the results of one of our field trips in the Apennines in the mud volcano area. There is the possibility also to upload digital elevation models that you can see in a virtual reality environment. But probably you will be able to experience this field trip later on this afternoon. Okay, so with this presentation, I hope that I have shown to you the potential of this application, but one sentence to conclude. This application can be used not only in the field of geoheritage, but it can also be used in other fields of geosciences, for example, but not only limited to geosciences. The flexibility of this GeoVT application, GeoVT platform, enable a high degree of customization of the lessons in the form of, for example, by tailoring the material to the educational level, teaching need, and specific lesson content. Very briefly, an example of this, of what I have already said, this is a virtual field trip that was realized, that was implemented at the Geophysical Observatory of Modena. So this is nothing to do with geoheritage, for example, but we implemented this for the students of the degree in primary education sciences to teach them within the module of atmosphere and climate, for example. And similarly, we also implemented another field trip that is not directly linked with geoheritage, related to the cryosphere. We perform a virtual field trips in the Martello Valley in northern Italy, in the province of Bolzano, for those who are familiar with those areas. And this was provided for bachelor and master students in natural sciences and primary education sciences, respectively. So you saw the potential of these tools, of this application, and I hope that you will experience such virtual field trips later on. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Vittoria, also for keeping excellent time.
Okay, good.
Very, very good. And giving a good, yeah. We're going to switch over to Georgios Manias from our department, but in Greece. Hello, Georgios.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So maybe you could share your slides.
Yes, I'm doing that right now. Can you see the screen?
We do. It looks very good. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Georgios Maneas, and together with my colleagues, we have prepared this kind of a field trip. I'm not a geomorphologist, but I understood really, really well what is the important to understand geomorphology when it comes to site management. And this is what I will try to share with you. First, some background information about the site. It's Yalova Lagoon, which is a Mediterranean coastal lagoon. It is at the eastern part of the Mediterranean in Greece, and it is an important bird area, an important fishing area. It has also it is an archaeological site, which was formed around 3,300 years before present. Some extra background information, because it is needed for the management also. It is part of a small hydrological catchment. It is the area inside this white dotted line. And it contains, apart from the Yalova Lagoon, three more important water resources. It is a groundwater aquifer, which is also used for irrigation and domestic use nowadays. The river Xerolagados, and also an area where we get upwelling groundwater, like springs. If we zoom into this wetland lagoon, it is a typical Mediterranean lagoon, I would say, with transitional waters. And by transitional waters, we mean the water body that it is formed between the land and the sea. And it is affected by both freshwater inputs and also exchanges with the sea, meaning that usually these type of ecosystems have brackish waters. And of course, being in the Mediterranean, the climate is typical Mediterranean, and it is also vulnerable to climate change. And what is the problem? What is why we need to manage this area? Even though it is part of a Natura 2000 site, there have been a series of anthropogenic interventions, and at present, the area is threatened by salinization. And this is something that we did not discover. It was already there 3 decades ago. And why salinization is a problem? Because all species, flora and fauna, have a specific tolerance to salinity. And here is a table where you can see some of these, let's say, upper limits that the species can handle. There were some efforts back in the 90s and to restore, let's say, to try to regulate salinity, but they faced challenges that they didn't have to do with, let's say, the availability of water resources, but more with conflicts and, let's say, a delay in the governance of the site. And this brings us to today, where it is, to our understanding, it's very important to assess the problem of salinization and provide some alternatives for the restoration of the wetland and the regulation of salinity. Nonetheless, by following a multidisciplinary and holistic approach. And to do that, we start from how this area was formed, which were the natural processes. And this is where geomorphology comes in. As you can see in this slide, 6,000, 6,500 years before present, there was no wetland. There were rivers bringing sediments to the area, and there also some sand transfer, marine sand transfer. But by then, there was just, let's say, a shallow marine environment which was getting freshwater inflows. Gradually, this bay of Voidokilia was formed by the deposition of sand, and the area, let's say, that it was transformed to an open lagoon around 5,000 years to 4,400 years before present. And we know that by analyzing sediment cores from the area, that at the beginning it was more like a shallow marine environment, but with brackish features, because there was a strong inflow from nearby rivers. Also, what it is important to say is that it was already by the Bronze Age that most likely one of the rivers that they were feeding the area was diverted for reasons that we are not very sure why, but this is what it seems. Eventually, the area took its natural form approximately 3,300 years before present. And this is when also this, sorry, I will try to make it, no, it doesn't work. Anyhow, both sand barriers, Voidokilia to the west and Vivarid Navarino to the south, were formed. And actually, it created this environment, low energy environment, and where there was a kind of water exchange with the sea, but also freshwater inflows from the catchment. And from the analysis of the sediment cores, we can say that it was a period where the salinity of the wetland was significantly decreased. This was, let's say, the natural evolution of the site, but this is not how the site looks like today. And that is because back in the 50s, there were a series of interventions trying to drain the area. So what happened was to divert the freshwater inputs to flow to Voidokilia and Navarino Bay to the south, and to construct a series of canals in order to gradually drain the area, to build a pump house, to close, of course, the channel that is allowing the communication, the water exchanges with the sea, and to start to pump water from the lagoon, from the wetland to the sea. As far as we know, at some point the wetland was completely dried, but eventually, due to some let's say, bad technical approaches or even changes in policy, all the drainage efforts was abandoned. And we don't know much about this period between 65 to 75, but we know that in 1976, the sea lagoon, let's call it like that, canal was reopened in order to allow again fishing activities. And as you understand, at this point, the wetland was flooded with seawater. And as we understand it, this is also when salinization started to occur. On top of that, there was a construction of this, let's say, inner embankment, like a road, which separated the wetland into two distinct areas, the lagoon to the left and the marshes to the right. And actually, the whole hydrology of the area was destroyed. And we know from the first study that was implemented in the area that it was facing already back in during the 90s, one of the biggest problems of the wetland was the issue of salinization. This has led to to a project to just restore part of the freshwater inflows, and which actually to bring, there it is, sorry, I'm trying to make it red. Anyhow, can you see my arrow? I hope you can. So they try to bring fresh water from the springs and from the water, and also to re-establish some water exchanges between the lagoon and the marshes. This type of interventions had a positive effect, but as I told you at the beginning, there were some failures, mainly due to conflicts. To summarize what has happened to the wetland, I provide you these graphs. On the top, you can see the climatic conditions that prevail in the area from 1956 to 2010-11. And with the blue line, we have precipitation. The red one is evaporation, and in between, they are different. And what we know is that due to climatic conditions, the area is losing around 200 millimeters per year. There is this freshwater deficit. And due to the lack of fresh water, we have this gradual increase in salinization. We don't know the salinity back in the 50s because there were no measurements, but we know that at some point it reached the value 60, and later on, after these interventions, it was reduced to 50 to 55 PSU, which is practical salinity units. What has happened within the wetland is that the fresh and brackish vegetation was gradually transformed was gradually replaced from saline species, and the habitats in general were reduced by almost 50%. The open water area was increased by almost 20%, more than 20%, and we had more arable land. Today, and we know that because we measure today, or at least when we started the measurements in 2016, the range in salinity was between 20 and 55, and with hypersaline conditions for almost 30% of the year. And by hypersaline, we mean salinity above the sea salinity. And actually, you can see in these yellow and blue areas, the yellow areas are the dry season, and the blue, the wet season. So what we see is that during the wet season, because of precipitation and some freshwater inflows, the salinity is decreasing, while it is decreasing due to during the dry season due to high evaporation and, of course, much less freshwater inputs. Today, the salinity, the range has mildly decreased, so we don't have these very high values of 55, and that is because the communication with the sea is much better. However, we see that there is an increase in the period with under hypersaline conditions. And of course, this is due to the absence of freshwater inputs. And what we expect is that if the situation remains like that, then the salinity will continue to increase. And to go into the management approaches, what is important, at least from my perspective, is to go from the site description that we saw before to an approach that will also include the human factor. And so we have the society and the economy, the ecology, of course, the water resources, climate change and policies. And how we can go into this approach is by engaging the different stakeholders, because eventually the management of the site is something that it will affect the society there. And it is an iterative participatory process. Very briefly, I will go through the steps. First, we try to analyze what the different stakeholders think about the area and have these mind maps. Then we try to combine all these different approaches into one conceptual model, which we bring back to the stakeholders to validate it, to see if it makes sense to them, if they can see themselves in these processes. And once we get the okay, we start to add in data, we start to add in all the scientific information that we have, because we want to make this transition from a concept to a quantified model. And this is, in general, how a quantified model looks. Again, we try to bring in all the available knowledge, not only from science, but also from the local stakeholders. And we go back to them for an extra validation. And why this back and forth process is important? Because by that way, we try to create this common understanding between all the parties, because when it comes to a management decision, all people will need to at least understand what is to be managed. I will very fast. This is a zoom of the model, where I could say briefly that the middle is in the middle we have all these natural processes, and then we all have around that we have these anthropogenic processes, human processes, and how all these affect the salinity.
Could you come to a conclusion, Georgios?
Yes, I'm here. I know it was bigger. I will go to this conclusion, which is also what we can see in the Yalova Lagoon wetland example. Is we can see how how much time it took for the area to be the evolution of the area, and which are the natural processes, but also how easy and fast humans can actually destroy the natural environment. And to tackle the problem of salinization, we need to also consider the site's geomorphology, and we can be quite sure that by restoring the natural flows, we will actually expect to have better conditions in the wetland, but also better process by going just back to the natural processes that form the wetland. If we can restore these balanced conditions, we expect much better conditions in the wetland. But if not, we expect that the wetland will collapse. Thank you so much for your attention and sorry for taking more time.
All good. Thank you very much, Yorgos. I think it's worth mentioning that as part of this interesting story that Yorgos is telling here, and it's part of his PhD work, there's now also, of course, we have a virtual field trip in this area. So you can see it everywhere, in 360, the whole lagoon setting and the different environments that are part of it and the different geomorphologies that are part of it, such as the barriers and the lagoon itself, etc. So welcome to have a look at that in the afternoon, if you want, in the virtual session or the practical session, the workshop. So, okay, thank you very much for attending this morning session, both online and in person here. We're going to take a break. We have some lunch prepared for everybody who's here. We'd love to see you, everybody, back again in about 50 minutes when we could start with the afternoon session and the afternoon lecture. So thank you very much again for everybody who's been presenting, and everybody in the afternoon.